2 weeks ago, a social media post highlighted something remarkable. A diverse crowd gathered outside Baidu's office in Beijing, learning how to use agentic artificial intelligence, specifically OpenClaw. This wasn't just young tech enthusiasts, it was people of all ages and backgrounds sitting together, teaching and learning from one another. It wasn't just about the technology itself, it was about the normalization of learning AI in a public, accessible way. This scene underscored a powerful idea. Creating environments where people can learn collectively is critical, especially in a world where technology evolves faster than many can keep up. As someone that has been a classroom career and technical educator, I've long believed that structured opportunities for parents and students to learn together could transform educational outcomes. Too often, students bring home material their parents don't understand, and parents who may have been out of formal education for decades struggle to bridge the gap. Add AI to the mix, and this disconnect becomes even more significant. If the US is serious about AI leadership, lifelong learning must become a system that includes workers, students, and families. What stood out most in Beijing wasn't just the technology, it was the societal approach. This wasn't a gated event or limited to a select few, it was public and inclusive. This underscores a key point. AI dominance won't just depend on which country builds the best models, but on which country fosters the fastest, most adaptable learning society. The ability to learn, adapt, and integrate AI across generations and demographics will be a decisive factor in global leadership. The White House's recently released National Policy Framework for Artificial Intelligence touches on some of these issues. Starting with protecting children and empowering parents, the framework acknowledges past mistakes with social media, where platforms scaled rapidly without proper guardrails. This time, it aims to get ahead by emphasizing stronger parental controls, protections against exploitation, and clearer limits on how children's data can be used. It also supports state enforcement of child protection laws in the AI context, which is a win for states' rights and a step toward accountability. The framework also addresses safeguarding communities, particularly seniors, from AI enabled scams, which are becoming increasingly sophisticated. It emphasizes inclusion for small businesses through grants, tax incentives, and technical assistance to adopt AI tools. However, access alone isn't enough. Simply providing tools doesn't ensure meaningful use. We need environments where people can learn to use these tools effectively and with depth. This is where China's approach stands out. They're not just building technology, they're building users. On intellectual property, the framework acknowledges the ongoing debate about training AI models on copyrighted material. It supports allowing courts to resolve this issue, which is a reasonable approach. However, the suggestion for Congress to consider licensing frameworks without defining when or whether licensing is required raises concerns. Leaving this ambiguity creates uncertainty, which can stifle innovation and lead to excessive litigation. The framework also makes clear that AI should not suppress lawful expression or be manipulated ideologically. Mechanisms for redress in cases of government overreach are crucial, and the framework seems solid here. However, when it comes to enabling innovation and ensuring American AI dominance, the reliance on existing regulatory agencies instead of creating a centralized AI body feels insufficient. AI spans too many domains: education, labor, national security, and infrastructure for a fragmented approach to work effectively. A hybrid model that leverages existing expertise while ensuring centralized coordination would be more strategic. Without it, we risk the kind of delays and disorganization seen in other emerging technologies like cryptocurrency. The section on education and workforce development is particularly promising. It calls for integrating AI into education, expanding research on workforce shifts, and supporting demonstration projects and youth initiatives. This is the right direction, but we can push further. Public schools should become hubs for cross generational learning, where parents and students learn AI tools together. If the government can't tackle this alone, employers could step in with structured programs, supported by tax incentives, to normalize this kind of learning at a societal level. The framework also aims to establish a federal approach to AI regulation while preempting overly burdensome state laws. While a fragmented regulatory landscape could slow innovation, sidelining states entirely would be a mistake. States have led on critical issues like child protection, fraud prevention, and consumer safety. Their proximity to communities gives them unique insights that a purely federal approach cannot replicate. For example, states should play a more active role in shaping policies related to data centers and their local impacts. Moreover, the idea that states shouldn't penalize AI developers for third party misuse of their models is concerning. Companies already have due diligence expectations for third party risks in other industries. This standard should strengthen, not disappear, in the AI context. When I step back and consider all of this, the open claw learning environments in China, the White House framework, and our broader direction, I see a gap. We're focused on regulating and structuring AI, but not enough on learning it and using it strategically as a nation. The countries that lead in AI won't just have the most advanced models, they'll be the ones where learning AI is agile, public, and shared. They'll be the ones where parents understand what their children are using, workers can adapt without starting from scratch, and communities aren't left behind as technology accelerates. The question we should be asking isn't just whether we can build AI, but whether we can build a society that knows how to use it independently and interdependently at scale. Other countries are already practicing while we're still planning. This is the real challenge, creating a US society that's ready to lead in AI, not just technologically, but socially and educationally.